All right. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for being here this morning. Appreciate the coverage. Excited to welcome back the 2000 Big Ten Championship team this weekend. They're having their reunion. And I obviously wasn't on the staff or player at that time, but then had the privilege to coach a lot of guys in the 01 season and beyond for the rest of their career. So really fired up to see them and spend some quality time with them on Friday. And then, obviously see them on the field on Saturday pregame and then a little bit maybe post-game. But just really excited to welcome them back. Looking back at the previous game, I thought Peter Skronsky played, we thought collectively as a staff that Peter Skronsky played really well. He was our offensive player of the week. Defensive player of the week was Chris Bergen. A ton of tackles, really active, flying around all over the place. And then Ray Nairo was our special teams player of the week. He had 5 tackles in the game. Evan Hull was our big playmaker offensively. A couple of pretty good runs, especially the explosion run for a touchdown, and then a couple of big play on the screen. And then Coco Azuma, obviously with the 2 huge caused fumbles, gave us a chance to get some momentum at the half, and then made a great play again to get some momentum in the second half that we didn't capitalize on. Lawson Albright, Theron Johnson, and Calvin Johnson were our special teams. Offense, defense, and special teams practice players of the week. So excited to get back out to practice tomorrow. We obviously played 30 minutes of competitive football, and then we just, we reverted back to bad habits in the third quarter, which put ourselves in a big hole against a very good team on Saturday. So back to work, guys. We're really focused today, and looking forward to getting back to work on the field again tomorrow. So with that, I'll answer all your questions to the best of my ability.
Reminder, if you have a question, please message Athletic Communications in the chat. First question for Will Carmen.
Hey, Coach. Throughout your tenure at Northwestern, you've been really successful in games as a heavy underdog. I'm just curious, how do you use that card, especially last week, leading up to Michigan, sort of to motivate your team?
Will, I don't think I talked about it at all, to be honest with you. I usually don't really care or concern too much what's said externally, but I'm sure our guys looked at it, but the ball goes up in the air. All that stuff that happens before a game really kind of goes out the window. It goes back to the way you prepare. Our number one objective is consistently prepare for victory, and obviously we've got to get back to that to be able to be successful in this league. And a huge challenge against the Gophers this weekend. I mean, they're physical. I'm really impressed with both sides of the line of scrimmage. It was impressive to watch not only the Maryland game, but then going back and doing my film study. Really impressive up front in the trenches. But to answer your question directly, partner, I don't spend a whole lot of time typically on a lot of things that are said externally.
Paul Banks.
Good morning, Pat. My question is about Minnesota. I mean, you've been coaching in this division, in this league for a long time, and kind of like looking at what PJ's done over there, do you feel they really have kind of a culture or an identity and kind of established where there's a lot of consistency when you kind of know what you're going to be facing with them every year?
Yeah, Paul, good morning. I think across the board in the Big Ten, most people have pretty much, they're going to do what they do and do it how they do it. I think Coach Fleck has done a phenomenal job since he's gotten there, creating what they want to do. They've had different coaches come through, right? Just like we have here. And they're an experienced team. This is probably the most experienced team in the Big Ten this year, and it shows. I mean, I think they've got like 500 starts between their offensive linemen. They just broke a record last week, so it's really impressive to watch them play collectively together. Both sides of the ball, you can definitely see they're playing with a ton of passion and playing for each other. But Coach has done a great job at both stops at Western Michigan and now at Minnesota. We've known each other for a long time, got a lot of respect for the job that he does. And, we're going to have to play really clean football to put ourselves in position to compete in the game.
What kind of specific challenges do you see in their offensive line, which is, like you said, it's really experienced, but maybe it kind of goes overlooked sometimes?
Well, I don't think it, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't think it goes overlooked. I mean, I think all you got to do is pop on the tape. I think everybody in the conference feels the same way. And just how big they are, how physical. Coach Callahan does a great job with that offensive line now. I mean, they're on the same page every play. You don't see them making a whole lot of mental mistakes. And, physically they execute really well. And again, like I said, they've got not only a ton of experience with their starting group, but then they'll play multiple packages where they'll play with 6, 7, even up to 8 offensive linemen at one time to be able to create double teams and be able to create angles. So it presents a lot of challenges schematically, but more importantly, they just play really, really hard, really physical, really fundamentally sound. And they're all on the same page. It's impressive to watch.
Adam Rittenberg.
Yeah, hey Fitz, I know you guys have had a lot of changes on offense this year, but just big picture, where do you think the identity is, or where you want it to be going forward, and what still needs to happen to get it to that place the rest of the season?
Yeah, well, we got to be able to move the ball consistently, and then obviously score points. I mean, that's what everybody's identity wants to be, regardless if you're, Army, running the triple option up in Madison against the Badgers a couple of weeks ago, or the Badgers with the way they run their offense, or the Gophers this week, or Michigan or us. I mean, everybody, I think, number one, wants to try to have consistency and establish line of scrimmage, be able to make explosive plays. Yeah, I mean, we've got some new names and some new faces, and we've got to get them to, play up to their potential. I mean, that's on us as coaches. And, going through some young guys right now. It's a lot of fun, where every rep is a new and coachable moment. And I love the guys. We just got to be more consistent.
Drew Schott.
Great to see you, Adam. Usually your screen's just blacked out. It's good to see you.
Hey, Coach, when Ryan spoke after the Michigan game, he spoke about the receivers stepping up to take the place of Stephon, who was injured, and then Bryce was out for the season. What have you seen from guys like Jacob and JJ, especially against a strong opponent like Michigan? And what do you think that room can do going forward for the rest of the season? Down one of its.
Yeah, Drew, I just think they need to play up to their potential, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you can't go in and fill in for somebody else. That's not the way it works. You just got to play your game, and number one, learn what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. Right. As a young player, that's priority number one. Put together, one practice at a time each week. So then you can have confidence in the game plan, and then go out and trust yourself on Saturday and go play as hard and as fast and as physical as you can. And I know those guys are, would never want an opportunity based on someone else getting, injured. But I know they're excited to play.
Just a quick follow-up. I know you usually don't discuss personnel, but Stephon leaving the game in Ann Arbor was ruled out in the third quarter. Is there any update on his status for Saturday?
We put out a status report on Saturday pregame, so that'll be consistent. But thanks for asking.
Casey Drotter.
Hey, Coach, obviously the schedule plays a part, but are there any trends you're noticing when it comes to the team's struggle to maintain momentum from wins this season?
Yeah, I mean, from each week's a new season, man. I don't think so. I mean, we had a great week of prep last week, and I thought we had a pretty darn good first half against a really, really good football team. We just didn't answer the bell in the third quarter, and then they were able to get up 3 scores and, kind of get in a 4-wheel drive. Yeah, so I don't think it has anything to do with that. You always feel a lot better on Sunday and Monday when you win. I mean, I guess that's what makes a week like today, kind of after I get done with, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I look forward to this thing always being over so then I can move on, and even after a win, I like this being over so I can move on, because it is what it is. I've been done with this since about 8:00 on Saturday. We had to put some things to bed this morning. We met the squad, but yeah, you gotta consistently prepare. Each team presents new challenges in all 3 phases. Your roster then has different issues based on health and where things are at. You just got to put together the best plan you can, and then we got to get our guys to trust themselves and go execute in the moment.
Michael Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Coach, you talked about a little bit earlier, the offense struggling to sustain drives, string good plays together. Where do you think the disconnect has been? Why is it like one good play, then a negative play? Why has it been a struggle to string together positive plays to get down the field?
Well, Michael, I think when you watch the tape, you see a handful of one-man breakdowns. Against Michigan, I think that they did a pretty darn good job stuffing our run. I mean, they fit gaps properly. Obviously, when we finally got some creases, we got some pretty good chunks of yards, especially in the one explosion during the second quarter there late. But we've got to be better at running the football. That's how we're built. That's what we want to be able to do. That opens up everything else. Your play pass, your opportunity to get the ball down the field. And we were able to do that with some things schematically. We just weren't able to sustain it. And then we got ourselves behind the chains, kind of played right into Michigan's hands.
Patrick Andres.
Hey, Coach. So we saw some big plays from the secondary on Saturday. You mentioned Coco being named Defensive Playmaker of the Week. What are you looking for from your secondary linebackers, kind of the second level on Saturday against a Minnesota team that likes to run the ball a lot?
Well, first of all, you got to get lined up to their formation variations. They do a really good job. They've expanded it a little bit under Coach Sanford. He's done a nice job creating, different motions and shifts and different formations that they, maybe haven't run in the past. So that creates issues. Then you got to talk about their personnel. Like I said, you're going to see, 5, 6, 7, up to 8 offensive linemen on the field, which creates extra gaps. So your fit has got to be, really on point. And then, I'm really impressed with their backfield. You're down your quote unquote top 2 backs, but I don't think that matters, to their 3 guys that are playing right now. They're playing at a really high level. I was really impressed with the way that they have played since their opportunities have presented themselves now for multiple weeks when I've watched them on tape. But most impressively was last week against Maryland. I thought they really were, really kind of had a 3-headed monster going there pretty successfully.
Time for 2 more questions. Austin Siegel.
Coach, at this point in the season, what are you kind of looking for from your captains and some of the guys who are leaders on this football team?
Well, probably number one, as we get into the start of the week, just leading our guys through our preparation and how we go about our routine. And again, you got some new guys, kind of thrust into, starting roles, so to speak, in some areas. So, kind of what's your plan? How do you work that plan throughout the course of the week to get yourself mentally and physically prepared? And then I just need them to be their best. I don't need them to be anything more, anything less. Just be you, be who you are, lead how you lead. But with captain comes responsibility and ownership. And I know our guys that are in those roles take great ownership of what's going on. I mean, even a guy like Hunter, who may not be playing, he's got great energy at practice. He's helping Ryan out. He's helping the other guys out. And I'm really proud of the way that he's responded.
Last question for Will Carmen.
Coach, sort of building on that, you may not have necessarily had the start to the season you were hoping for, but with the way the teams in the Big Ten West have started, you guys are still in the mix. Are you paying at all any attention to sort of, I guess how the standings are lining up there, or not really?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get us to play consistently, Will. That's right now what, my biggest issue with me is the head coach is we just aren't playing clean and consistent enough. And that starts and ends with me. And I've got to get our coaches to get our guys to be more efficient with everything we're doing. Starts with fundamentals. And it's across the board and everything from snap, hold, kick to the way we're taking on blocks, to the way we're tackling, the way we're finishing, the strain to finish blocks, hitting holes properly, right targets in our protection. And then the list goes on and on. That's what I'm focused on right now. And then as we get into the prep, you focus on going 1-0 for this week. That's all you can control. And like I said, I thought the guys had a good focus this morning, and I can't wait to get back out on the field with them tomorrow morning too. So appreciate everybody. Happy Halloween, and appreciate you covering us. Thanks a lot, Go Cats.
We'll go right into questions for Sam. If you have a question, please message Athletic Communications in the chat. First question for Austin Siegel.
Hey, Sam, I was just curious, what have some of the conversations been like that you've had with the other leaders on this football team?
I think one of the biggest things is just staying steady, making sure everybody understands that all you have to do is your own job and do it well, and that's going to lead to winning games.
Patrick Andres.
Hey Sam. We saw Evan break off that 75-yard run on Saturday. How big of a boost is it for your offense when you can get it going like that? And I guess on the flip side, 6 yards on his other 5 carries. How much of an impediment is it when he can't really establish a run game against Michigan's front?
I mean, that one big run was huge for us momentum wise. And it really sucks when you can't get it going on the run game earlier in the game and to sustain it throughout the rest of the game. So we need to do a better job up front, sustaining blocks, fundamentals, and enable the offense to have both run and pass available.
Daniel Olinger.
Yeah, Sam, my question was kind of similar to that. I was just going to ask, like what specifically do you think happened on that run from Evan? Because it was kind of unexpected to like everyone there just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, just take me through it, I guess, like kind of what happened that play that worked so well.
Yeah, coaches made a good play call. They saw a little bit of an opening in their defense, and Evan made a great cut. Guys did their job up front, and Evan does what he does.
Drew Shot.
Hey, Sam, Coach Fitz was just talking about the experience of Minnesota and you being one of the captains, one of the most experienced leaders on this team. I mean, returning only 39% of production heading into the season. How have you seen this team grow despite replacing some key positions and kind of build camaraderie now 7 games into the season?
Taking practice reps is very different than taking in-game Big Ten live reps, and getting that experience under a lot of guys' belt that haven't been in the arena before has been really good for them. And guys have continued to mature, learn the game better. It's been good to see.
Austin.
Sam Peter was singled out by the coaching staff as the offensive player of the week. I was curious what you've seen from him this season, just continuing to grow in his role on this offensive line.
I think it's pretty obvious he's continued to improve technique-wise, but the more impressive thing, I think, is he's continued to grow as a leader, and guys on the team have perceived him as such. He's done a great job of leading by example and vocally, and it's just going to be great for the team for him to continue to do so.
Drew.
Sam, now Ryan's started the last 4 games. Kind of what have you seen from him kind of as a center? You especially have a important rapport with the quarterback. Where have you seen his game grow most across this, and where do you think it can go? What do you think he can grow upon also?
He's built a lot of chemistry with the offense and with the rest of the team. He's gained everybody's trust. He's doing the right things on and off the field, making sure he's doing his film study, practicing the right way. It's been really good to see, and I think he's got potential to be a special quarterback if he continues to do those things.
Austin.
So, Sam, it's the halfway point of the season, just Big Ten West teams from here on out. What's kind of the mentality going into this final stretch?
I mean, this is the reason you come to Northwestern, play Big Ten hard-nosed football. And I think everybody on this team is ready to accept that challenge and ready for some gritty games. So I think everybody's looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
I will upload this to the